Let's start by examining each of these buttons that appears in the center window of Ecamm Live. First, there's this button which shows the different scenes. The scenes window is the one that is in the upper left, and there is just one scene currently, which is our default scene. A scene is basically the layout of the elements in the Ecamm Live window that would get sent to our video feed via the Ecamm Live virtual camera. Next, there's this button where we can choose whether we want to stream or record or both. I have this set to record only, and because the purpose of this screencast is to show how you might use Ecamm Live in a non-streaming environment, this is where we're going to focus. So because we have this set to record, we have a record button at the bottom of our Ecamm Live interface. All right, so now that we've covered most of the basics in Ecamm, now it's time to actually use this in an actual recording. But one last thing before we do that, we need to connect our Zoom account. So let's go over to this Zoom button over here on the right. Click here to link a Zoom account. A browser window opens with our Zoom account already logged in. So just click this button to allow the app to use my shared access permissions, and then click Allow. Go back to Ecamm Live. Get a couple of pop-ups here. One is asking if we want to allow Ecamm Live Zoom to find devices on the local network. I'm going to click Allow. And then the second one in the lower right indicates that our Zoom account has now been linked. So click OK to dismiss this pop-up. And now we can create a new meeting, join a meeting, or look at the scheduled meetings by clicking one of the buttons over here in the Zoom overlay. Let's click New Meeting just to show you how this works. Okay, now here is a Zoom window that has now been opened, and there are a couple of things that are different here because I triggered this through Ecamm, but most of what you would come to expect from Zoom is here. Okay, so for example, if we click on the caret here in the video options, we can see all of the cameras that we can choose from. And as you probably guessed, we are using the Ecamm Live virtual cam that we set up inside of Ecamm back at the beginning. That allows us to send whatever is in our Ecamm scene over to Zoom. Okay, now the audio options actually don't have the big list of options that you normally would see. It's just going to pipe in the audio based on the settings inside of Ecamm. That's the main difference here. But let's go back to Ecamm now and trigger a scene. Okay, so we've got our default scene here, but if I click on the Zoom scene, you'll see that my Zoom window adjusts to show the active application, which is my browser window, my video, and my logo. So we can switch back and forth between these scenes right here, and it instantly shows up in our Zoom window. Now in Zoom, we need to make sure that we have our video spotlighted in order for it to appear like this. If you have a gallery view, all of these changes are going to take place inside of your small box in the grid, which is going to make it a little bit hard to see. So just something to be aware of. Now there's one additional feature which I really love about the way that Ecamm Live works with Zoom. You can actually bring in Zoom chat and overlay it on your scene. So let's close this previous interview chat and go select the chat option from this list of buttons on the right side of the Ecamm Live window. Okay, and now we can see all of the comments that are being added in the chat inside of Zoom without having Zoom open on our screen. So when JF sends some text or a question, for example, how do I get chat overlays to show up? They actually just appear in this list. And then by clicking on the button which appears over JF's avatar, we can actually bring that into our scene. Okay, now by default, when you turn this on, you also have to turn it off. But there is a setting that allows these to disappear after a set amount of time. So click the gear icon right here, go to the General tab, and at the bottom, you'll see the option to automatically hide the comments after so many seconds. I'm going to turn this on and change this to 20 seconds. Okay, so that chat comment is still being displayed. I have to close this one out manually because I turned it on manually. But this second comment that JF made, if I were to make this appear, now it will disappear after 20 seconds. And like any of the other overlay elements, we can drag these wherever we want on our scene.